She looked in the mirror and didn't recognize the woman staring back. Her hair was tangled, her eyes tired, her shoulders slumped like they carried someone else's weight. She wondered if she had ever truly belonged anywhere at all. But what happened next is what separates those who stay hidden in shadows from the women who rise and reclaim their own roar. Meet Marta, a young woman juggling a part-time job, late-night classes, and the gnawing loneliness that follows her home. She's the friend who texts last, the daughter who answers too quickly, the coworker whose ideas vanish into the hum of the office. Every day, she fights to feel seen. Every night, she questions whether her life is enough. The silence after a phone call stung worse than words could. She had spent hours crafting a message to her mentor, only for it to go unanswered. Her apartment smelled faintly of burned toast and cold coffee, the air heavy with all the things she couldn't say aloud. She stared at her reflection in the kitchen window, seeing not herself, but the echo of expectations she could never meet. The world felt loud and distant. She felt small. And yet, the ache in her chest whispered a stubborn question. What if I could be more than invisible? But then, she noticed the tiny plant on her windowsill struggling toward the sunlight, leaves trembling. It didn't have permission to grow. It didn't need applause. It simply did. And for the first time in weeks, something inside her stirred. What no one saw was her trembling fingers curling around the mug, gripping life through the tiniest of anchors. And here's where it changes. In her darkest night, a voice inside spoke. You are not weak. You are waiting to rise. It was not loud or heroic. It didn't thunder across the room. It was soft, insistent, the kind of voice that demands attention when you're ready to listen. She remembered her grandmother's stories of women in their towns, invisible yet unyielding, who survived storms that could have broken anyone else. The image burned itself into her mind, a fire refusing to be extinguished. But that was only the beginning. First, Marta realized her scars were not ugly. They were proof she had survived each storm. Each heartbreak, failure, and sleepless night had etched resilience into her bones. And the next truth cut even deeper. Silence doesn't mean weak. It means she was learning to listen to her own soul, to hear herself over the clamor of expectations. Then came another revelation. The world may forget her, but she must never forget herself. Each small act, sending an overdue email, speaking up in class, even making her bed, was a reclaiming of her own power. But this one changed her forever. She stopped waiting for permission. No cheerleader, no approval, no nod of recognition. She stopped asking if she was enough. She simply was. Another truth followed, almost like a whisper. Courage is born in repetition. One small brave act, repeated every day, builds a roar that echoes. And the final truth, she could rise without destroying her tenderness. Strength and softness were not opposites, they were the wings of her lioness heart. Marta started small. She took a long walk in the park, feeling her feet press into the earth. She spoke clearly in a meeting, even when her voice shook. She cooked a dinner for herself, light spilling across her table, and smiled at her reflection as she lifted the fork. Tears came, sometimes, and sweat did too. Courage wasn't perfect. Her roar was raw, jagged at the edges. But with every breath, every deliberate choice, it grew. Her hands steadied as she reached for the microphone at her student presentation. Her voice broke, yet she continued, filling the room with a confidence that felt both unfamiliar and inevitable. But the real lesson wasn't what she gained, it was what she refused to lose. Her sense of self, her dignity, her right to exist fully in her own light. So, my friend, if you have ever felt invisible, broken, or not enough, remember this: your cracks are not your end. They are the beginning of your light. This story is taking you into your own choice of strength. It is leaving you with self-worth and hope. And the last thing you hear is this: you are not broken. You are becoming. Like this video, subscribe for more real and life-changing stories every day, and share this with someone who needs to hear, your roar has always been inside you.